Okay, I believe we are live. So, welcome to Tamara's Closet today. I'm excited to be back today, and once again, actually, with a very special lady. We tried this a few weeks ago, and we had some technical difficulties. So, as a former model and lover of fashion, I've been in a bit of a slump the last few years with the fashion industry. While it may be exciting in New York, we seem to have gone a little stale in the rest of the world, or at least in my area. And so a few weeks ago, I discovered a new boutique here in Greensboro through a referral of another boutique owner in town. And I walked in the door and was really taken away by the beautiful fabrics, the bold colors, and just the high fashion that I've missed so much over the years. And today I have the pleasure of bringing on my show the owner of this boutique, which is called Tutuh's, and she is Valarie Tutuh. She's here with me today, and I'm just thrilled to have this boutique in the town, and it's exciting for me to kind of revive my passion for fashion. So I want to welcome Valarie Tutuh today and learn more about her passion as well. Can you hear me okay, Valarie?
I can, and thank you for such a great introduction.
Well, great. I'm excited so far. I think things sound good. So we're going to just keep moving on. And so I want you to go back to when you were growing up, Valarie. Were there any family members who were in the fashion industry or the arts or a seamstress?
Yes, so most of my family, especially on my father's side, is a military family. But my mom, um, and was a seamstress, so she did a lot of work, pretty much just for family. She did have a job in that field at one point, but she created wedding gowns. She made curtains and she did upholstery. She was really, really talented. She made most of my clothes growing up. Even some of my prom dresses she made, and she made them to my specifications. So she definitely had an influence on what now has become an entire store for me. Even though I don't think at the time I knew that, nor did I appreciate that. But what that did for me is it allowed for me to be in a space where things were unique. So even though I didn't appreciate that as a child because none of my clothes or most of my clothes were not store bought, I I under I underestimated the uniqueness that my mom provided in the clothing that she had for me and my siblings, because no one had anything that we had. So everything was different, everything was unique, everything was special. And so I think that's why I began to kind of tailor the pieces in the store after having that experience as a child.
Right. Did she do her own designs or did she take patterns and then make them her own or?
She took patterns and made them her own. But what I learned later is that my grandmother, who also had that skill, my maternal grandmother, didn't even make patterns. So she made everything. She didn't need a pattern when she sewed. So when she was growing up, she learned to sew without a pattern, and then kind of adopted that as kind of styles and trends changed, and probably trying to accommodate and appease a teenager trying to stay on top of some of the fashion. So yeah, but originally she wasn't taught to sew that way.
Wow. I just think that's fascinating when people can just do it on their own. That just mind blowing to me. What do you remember about did you claim what you wanted to become or do when you grow up, when you were young, when you were really young?
Yes, absolutely. I wanted nothing to do with sewing, and it's obviously something that I regret right now. I'm like, why did I not sit at her feet and learn all those skill sets? But I was definitely more of a brainy kid, so I was heavily focused on math and science.
Uh-huh.
I wasn't really into like the arts and anything that required creativity, though I do enjoy painting. I was just focused on what was more logical, and math and science just made sense to me. So I studied biology, and I wanted to be a dentist when I was growing up. So completely different than what my mom did.
That really is different. But, well, there's probably an art to science anyway.
No, you're right
I
about that.
don't know if there
That's a
can
good
be.
way to look at it. Yes, for sure.
Yeah. Do you remember how old you were when you really started paying attention to fashion a little bit more in a different way, or when it became important to you, or?
Well, it was always important because I grew up in a household where you did not look like what you were going through. So my dad was military, so he was very meticulous in how he ironed everything. He was always well dressed in preparation for church. And so it was very, very important for us to always be very well groomed. And so I think, though I didn't recognize it, it was part of who we were in my household. You know, we were just, you know, everything was ironed and pressed, and you were always put together when you left the house, you know. And so I think that was something that was just subconscious. I mean, I even see some of that in my children.
Oh, now, did your dad, was he into fashion at all, or just being really neat and put together?
He was just really into being neat and put together. So just very well dressed. He wore, you know, suits a lot. So he took great care with what he had and making sure that they were, you know, all the creases. I mean, he taught me how to iron and crease pants. Like, he was obsessed with it, but he was just more into just being well dressed.
Okay. Well, that's, I mean, that sounds like somebody who had been in the military anyway.
Yes.
Yeah, very much so. 15 years ago, you started your entrepreneurial career with Ident-A-Kid franchise in Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
Georgia. Can you share a little bit about what that was? And
Yeah, Ident-A-Kid is it was a franchise that was purchased, and at the time I was married, and we owned two of the counties, North and South Fulton County, one county, but North and South Fulton County, as well as the city of Atlanta. And so what you did was provide identification cards for kids, just as if they were taking pictures for like Life Touch. They would take a picture for this identification card, and it would be something that the parents would keep just in case a child was missing. They had DNA or identifying information for that child. And so we owned the county and the city of Atlanta and worked that for a couple of years, and it was very successful. I think it ultimately was written up in Black Enterprise, I think in 2009.
oh, wonderful. You also have a Master of Art in Counseling and started a mobile health agency in Atlanta, Georgia with in-home therapeutical services. What led you to this, and can you tell a little bit about that as well?
Well, yeah. So I, at the time, years ago, was a licensed therapist. I focused on child and adolescent community therapy, and it was a mobile in-home therapy where I got agents and kind of contracted with other agencies in Atlanta to provide therapy for children. Many of them who were had maybe an ADHD diagnosis, or at the time it was called oppositional defiant disorder diagnosis. And so just kind of building those strategies and doing it in home in a safe environment with their families. And so I did that for several years, and it was called Humble One. And if you have an opportunity to ever visit my store, I was told that I set it up as if it was a therapy office. And so the center of my store is created as a space for conversation and a space for safety. So I have great conversations in the store in that space. So it's a sofa and it's a chair right in the center of my boutique, which many of my friends who know me say it is a therapeutic space. So I created a counseling office inside of my boutique.
Yeah, you spoke about that when we tried to do this interview before, and I remember that's how you and I first, when I met you, we sat down there and we talked about each of what we were doing. You were telling me a little bit about the store and the boutique and your dream, and I talked a little bit about Tamara's Closet. So it is very much it's very much set up that way so you can have a conversation. So,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and you don't really see that a lot, and I like that. So,
Thank you.
do you still own AEPA, and can you share about what that agency is about?
Yes, I've had, it's called AEPA, stands for Alchemy Executive Protection Agency. So it is an agency that provides pretty much what it says, executive protection. We've had the ability, I think we've been in business for 6 years now, and had the ability to service many entertainment artists as well as athletes. We had guys that were working around the country around the world doing bodyguarding executive protection services for some very big names in Hollywood, so to speak. And so I still have that agency. Don't run it as much because this boutique has been all consuming, but I have, had a few steady clients over this year that we have kept in contact with based on the services that we provided for them over the years. So that was a very fun experience, and I learned a lot about management as well as actually managing people overseas as well.
That's great. You've done a lot of different things. And during the pandemic, that it was during that time, I think, that you began working part-time at a local retail store. And I wanted you to share how this led to where you are now and open your own clothing store.
Yes, and even to go back a bit to kind of like talk about all the things that um, I've had the opportunity or pleasure to be able to do in my life. I think it's really important to note that you don't have to be just one thing, and I think that was kind of what I want people to get out of it. It does sound like I am all over the place, and many people that know me might think that, but I think that you're not. You don't have to be just one thing, and you don't have to be afraid to fail. You can try multiple things. We as women are multifaceted, and I think that people should just, grab a hold of that and not be led by fear. But yes, so I spent during the pandemic, I made a conscious choice to work at a local store because I was obsessed with their clothing, and really didn't realize until probably a year into that there was great value in what I was learning. It's almost like where you go or be introduced to something for one reason, and then you realize that there's a greater purpose in that introduction to whatever that is. And that's exactly what it was for me. I had no desire to open up a boutique when I started working at that location. I had no desire to manage a store. I worked very part-time, but it was in that I learned a lot about the trends, a lot about what Greensboro had to offer. Um, there was very good training, and I found myself absorbed in that training, and really learning more about the fabrics and textiles and just what is required, for this particular item and why it functions this way. And that sometimes clothing just doesn't have an aesthetic look, but it also has a functionality to it. And so I really learned a lot about that. And then one day I decided that I wanted to open up a store. I knew what my vision was. I knew that it was something that I had not found in Greensboro, and set my sights on it, and actually had a career coach and a lot of other people advising me along the process. And so here we are. It's been a year this month since I got my keys to this particular location. So time definitely does fly.
Oh, yeah, it does. And so once you took that first step, because that's always the hardest, did some of the fear subside, or did it take you a little longer? Because so many people are afraid to take that first step.
I'm scared every day. That's the reality. Every day I'm like, what are you doing? But nonetheless, I just keep going because it's really not about me.
Yeah.
Like, it's about the people that I service. It's about the generation after me. It is about some little girl who might be afraid, who want to do something even bigger than this. So once I take it off of myself, it doesn't seem as fearful, because it has to be, my service in this space is for someone else who is afraid to try. And so for me, I'm only here to show you that you can do it. And I'm also here to show you that you don't have to be afraid to fail, pivot, start all over again, try it. Yeah. But every day I wake up and I'm like, ooh, I'm a little nervous. Okay, we're about to go in the store, so let's see, but I just keep going.
I know. But that's good advice, Valarie, because when I think I've never looked at it that way, but when you make it not about you, I think it does take a little bit of the fear off. That makes a lot of sense.
Yes, yes, and that's what I've always told my children, like, whatever you do is not for just you. It's for someone else who may be observing you. So how you behave, the choices that you make could be inspiring to someone else. And so just be conscious of that, every day.
Right. And that's good advice. So fashion has changed over the years, and it wasn't until I walked in your store a few weeks ago that something sparked inside of me again for, with just my passion for fashion. I really did feel like I had come alive when I walked in your store because I thought I had lost my passion for fashion, just like I said, when I touched the fabrics and noticed how very different, very New York the fashion was. And, when you moved here from Atlanta, what was it you wanted to accomplish here in Greensboro, and why did you choose Greensboro?
Well, when I moved here, I was in a role where I covered the entire state of North Carolina, and so Greensboro is centrally located, and there is a lot of really richness about it. It also is in the direct center of the two places that I spent most of my life, which was
Don't say that. I'm sorry, Valerie. We both bleaked out for a minute.
oh,
So
okay.
start over when you moved here.
Yeah,
That's
so when
what
I
I lost.
moved here, I was covering the entire state of North Carolina for a different role. And so Greensboro is centrally located in the state of North Carolina. It's quick to get to the mountains, quick to get to the beach. But it also is a good central location for the two cities that I spent the most of my time. So I'm originally from the DMV area. I was born in DC. So it's halfway there. And then I also raised my kids in Atlanta, and it's halfway there. So Greensboro was kind of like that sweet spot that I can get both places, within 5 hours. So my goal really was, and still is, and always is, just to raise my children. So I wanted to find a place where it was affordable, where it was safe, where it was comfortable, and that they could flourish. And Greensboro happened to be that, at the time. And so I didn't have any entrepreneurial goals. Even the security company had not even came into play at that time. And so it wasn't until I got here and I had developed some relationships and got kind of acclimated to the city that a lot of this had came about. But primary goal was to get my kids through high school too, and through college. So that's what I'm trying to do.
Well, that's great. And I know I met one of your sons. I met, I
Hmm.
guess it was your grand opening. I may have met
I think you met both of them.
both
Yeah.
of them, yeah. And
Yeah.
then another day, because one day when I went in there and you weren't there, one of your sons was there. So
Yes.
they're very handsome and seem like they're
Thank
very
you.
willing to help you, and that's nice, I think.
Well, they're
Um,
working on their own fashion line. I'm not sure if I've even told you that, but
no, you did not.
oh, yes, they do have their own fashion line that they're working on, and have had two drops of some of their item of clothing. It's streetwear, and it's called Prevail Studios. But I'd be remiss to tell you if they hadn't been one of my biggest inspirations, because um, they actually started around about the time I first started talking about the store, and they have done pretty well and been relatively profitable. So I figured if they could try it and go out, why couldn't I? So.
Oh, sure. Well, that's wonderful. Oh, I'll have to hear more about that. That's great.
Yeah.
Um, I remember talking to you in the store about how I love silks, and you weren't sure how they would do here because you had some, but you said you were a little timid about it. What do you think people believe? Why do they believe silks are just for dressy occasions or not for around here? And when I think, me personally, I think you can incorporate them in everyday wear.
Yes. So I think it's because people find it to be very dressy.
Hmm.
And it could be a little cumbersome to keep clean, but I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think you can dress anything up and down. And I think that, a lot of the silks have been kind of slow to move through the store. And, I'm holding true to that. I feel like it will turn around, but I think it's a beautiful fabric. It's one of my favorite pieces of fabric. I wear it often, and I wear it very casually. But I also think that it has the versatility to be dressed up. But I don't think um, that's the only thing that it can do. But I also buy pieces that I find that can go from day to night or night to day, however you choose to look at it. And I think silk is one of those items that can go from day to night. I also like to focus on trans-seasonal pieces, pieces that, can go across any season, that you can wear multiple seasons and wear it multiple ways. So a dress could be a duster, depending on how you button it or how it style it. You know, you could get a trench coat, which also could be a dress. So a lot of my pieces are considered high end, but are very functional. And believe me, we can have conversations on how you can get the most out of that particular item that you purchase from the store.
Yeah, and I just think that's true. I think silk. I don't know what other women think, but I like, for me, I like something that makes me feel really good about myself, even if I dress it down, because that's to
Correct.
me what fashion. Why, otherwise, why don't you just wear a t-shirt and blue jeans every day? I think I want to feel good even when I am casual. I want to feel
Correct.
professional, or just the way the fabrics feel on your body when you wear them, I think is really gives a woman confidence.
I
And
agree. Yes.
yeah, and so I think that's important. So and you've I was going to ask you too what you believe the false beliefs women have about their body regarding fashion, you know.
Well, I have been kind of intentional on making sure that I offer a variety of sizes. So I do have some items in my store that is 2X. I have access up to 3X, or maybe up to size 24 in one of the brands. So I mean, for me, I want it to be inclusive in terms of size, but I also want people to feel good about, what they look like and who they are. And I think one of the biggest challenges I have had is that, regardless of what size a woman is, when she comes in here, there has been hesitation as to what she thinks she looks like. So whether she is a 0 or a 22, most of the time, no one likes their bodies. And so
Yeah,
what I would like to, begin to cultivate here is just really, like how amazing everybody looks just the way that they are, and to not be, any skittish about your body, because I think that's one of the biggest hesitations to people purchasing clothing, is they are concerned about what they look like. And so trying to remove that and just getting people to feel comfortable in the skin that they are in, is part of our role here in the boutique. It's not just to sell clothes, it's to make sure that when you walk out the door, you feel good about what you look like, and the people that see you can see the difference in you because of what you're wearing.
yeah. No, I agree, and it's I like a lot of the things that you showed me and things we showcased in the magazine too. That's out now with you in it. I just think that's really great how you showed how you could dress them down. But before we get into that, I know you've raised children and yet you still managed to live your entrepreneurial life as a mom, and first and foremost, how's that been for you?
Yeah.
Just you know, balancing all that out.
Um, if you can see now, I'm very sleepy. I'm just playing. I need a nap all the time. But I think it has definitely been a challenge. I have, as you can tell, I have two boys that are 2 years apart. But I think in that aspect, we are a team. So whether I am offering suggestions on their clothing line or their life choices, they have no hesitancy in offering me suggestions on what I should do. So, we have a very fluid relationship. And even though there is a hierarchy, I'm the mom, they're the kids, we talk a lot, but it's been challenging. I think the biggest thing that what I try to do is empower them, and give them some of the responsibility. So there are things that they're responsible for, there are things that I'm responsible for, and there's things that we're responsible for collectively. But it has definitely been a challenge. But we have a very good relationship, and we communicate often. They help me in the stories you just mentioned when I'm unavailable, and I help them when I am allowed to. So um, but it has not been easy. I mean, they're 20 and 18, and so parenting definitely doesn't stop at 18 years old. You know,
Yeah,
really kind
Yeah.
of just get started.
Yeah. Well, you're really blessed that they have that common interest with you with fashion because they are, I mean, they're willing to help you in the store, and that's not something many parents have, I'm sure, you know.
Oh yeah, I don't. Willing is the stretch. Let's just say it's not a choice.
Okay. Okay.
But no, they're
Oh,
wonderful. But yeah, we in this together. We win. We all win. We fall. We all fall.
yeah, that's true. Well, for I'm not sure when fashion became so casual or even why, but I mean, I know it's a practical thing, but I believe silk, like can be good with jeans, and you carry both casual and business clothes. So I wanted you to share some of what you carry, talk about it, talk about the different lines, and even you can share some of anything
Okay.
that you have close by. This would
Yeah.
be a good time. Oh, and I've got your coat on
I
again,
know. It's so great.
and
It
I
is a
wanted to
cape
show
coat.
people how these sleeves are they're open and they're just, I don't know, I really love
It's
this jacket.
beautiful. Yeah,
And I
it's a
know
beautiful
it's
jacket.
probably more of a summer jacket, but I did want you to share what makes this more. Is it just the color? Because I would wear a pink sweater, and in the
Yeah.
winter. And what makes this? Could this go almost year round or?
Well, yeah, the color definitely makes it more of a spring, summer type of item.
Uh-huh.
The fabric is a little bit lighter, but it is a cape coat. It is by Iris Sidlaqui, and it is very, very beautiful. It's actually an entire suit. Um, but again, you could break that up so many different ways if you don't have both pieces and wear that. But that is just a statement piece. That is, here I am, look at me. I'm stylish, I'm fashionable, but I'm classy. And that's
Yeah.
kind of what I really love about a lot of the pieces. I like to call them subtly sexy, because it's not so suggestive, but it's giving you just enough to say, here I am, and I have a lot of style, and I'm a classy woman, so to speak. So I'll go through some of the pieces, but that is definitely
Okay.
one of the brands that's in my store. Let's see here. So this is one of our newer pieces. It is actually one of the best-selling brands in the store. If you can see it, it is so it is like a kind of uh, like a tuxedo dress. You can also wear that as a duster. If you open it up, you can wear it over top of something. I belted it. I have it styled in the store with the belt on it to just kind of separate that. I also have this beautiful pink coat that has been very popular. It is a pea coat,
Oh, that's pretty.
very pretty pink. That's by Terra Jamon. That is a Parisian brand. This is one of the first pieces I got in. Um, I also have this is a green jumper. It's a pants
That's
jumper.
pretty.
It is pretty. I think I have a couple left. It is a vegan leather. So this company, LBLC, the label, is out of California, and they focus on sustainable pieces with vegan leather and other materials that are not harmful to animals. So that brand is in the store. And then I do have a lot of casual pieces. This is actually a new brand that I have in the store. It's called Lola and Sophia. It is just a zip up hoodie, and it has black joggers that come with it. I show that because oftentimes some of the more fancier or the prettier pieces or the more dressed up pieces get a lot of the attention. And so the store gets known for having that type of style. But I do have casual pieces as well as jeans and some cargo pants, which is all the craze right now. These are also new that's in. These are cargo pieces. So it's a very
Yeah.
pretty fabric, and I have that in kind of a cream or off-white color as well. So yeah, so I have sweaters and jeans. We're having, obviously it's time for Black Friday, so I'm having a big Black Friday sale on Friday. So I'm redoing the store for that type of, for that event. But then of course I have some other like more holiday pieces as well.
Can you name some of your favorite lines that you have real quick or?
Yeah, so one of the ones is the one that you're wearing, which is Iris Delacqui. It's one of my favorite brands. It's definitely for the more classic, mature woman. I have GSTQ, brand out of New York, the best-selling brand in the store. I constantly am reordering. That's the brand that goes from extra small up to 3X. And they do a lot of like structured, kind of heavier fabrics, really fun pieces. Like the red dress was that. I have a very pink tuxedo suit that would be beautiful for the holidays, and then some other just basic black and white pieces from them. I also have Derek Lamb. I have Lantropy. Lola and Sophia is a new brand that I have, which gives you kind of some of that elevated casual look. I know
Right.
that leggings are very popular and women like to wear those a lot. So I have Lola and Sophia, which kind of rivals that type of look, but just kind of more an athleisure look that is really kind of elevated. Um, and I have LBLC, One Teaspoon. Uh, I have Ackler, which has a lot of my formal dresses for like events and things like that. So I do cover that spectrum as well. Yeah, just a lot of fedoras. I carry fedoras, and that's by lack of color. And then surprisingly, I've sold out of sunglasses. So I have a
Wow.
sunglass brand here that people have loved.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's great. Oh, good. Well, I personally don't think there's hard and fast rules today when it comes to fashion. And I think as a photographer, I live in jeans a lot. I wouldn't hesitate to wear one of your beautiful jackets with jeans, depending on
Hmm.
the environment I'm working in. And what are some ways women who have a career like me but where they still want to dress nice and feel good, but they still have to be kind of casual, because I know in the magazine we showcase where you could wear like the sneakers with a lot of things and
Yes, yes. I'm definitely a big sneaker kind of girl. So I don't have any hesitation. I mean, I'm in the store, I'm walking all day. So I think it's also important for me to be comfortable when I am and am not in the store. So I invest in sneakers so that I can wear them with my suits, so that I can wear them with my dresses. But I also love heels. But I think it just depends on the situation. But you should be nervous about wearing nice sneakers with a very nice outfit. I think it's very complimentary and depending on how you wear it. And so that's kind of what I can help you with, how to, transition your pieces and wear them throughout the day, regardless of what your setting is. But yeah, I love a good sneaker with a dress or a suit.
yeah, I mean, I just like that idea. Um, and what design have there been any designers over the years that have inspired you the most, or and who inspires you today?
Um, my favorite streetwear designer is Off White.
Off.
Um, Yeah, Virgil actually passed, I think, 2 or 3 years ago. The actual original designer, but I love Off White. It's a little bit edgier. I also am a very big Alexander McQueen, but I love a lot of the fashion that comes out of like Nigeria. They have amazing fabrics and amazing style. I'm hoping one day to be able to travel over to their fashion show or their fashion market, and kind of gather some of the pieces in Africa. I love Canadian fashion. That blazer that you are wearing actually is a Canadian designer. Um, I have no like strict rule. I'm constantly looking up new designers to bring in the store, and I really like to focus on emerging designers. I do have, a lot of the designers that I have in my store, or the brands I have in the store. I actually have relationships with the actual designers. I know that there's some brands where you talk to some of the sales reps, but then there are other brands where I actually speak to the designer. I had one lady who wanted to alter one of the dresses that I had in the store to accommodate her wedding. And I was able to reach out to the designer and ask her, would she be willing to do a different type of spin on one of her dresses that was very specifically made to her measurements. And she was willing to accommodate that. So I like having that relationship. But in terms of designers, oh, I love one of everything. I love all designers. Like, there's not one I can think of that I probably would not try to wear and maybe put my own spin on it.
Right. Now, in your store, what would be your favorite that you do have?
My favorite, definitely hands down, would probably be GSTQ.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in New York, and it probably aligns more with my roots. Uh, plus I love the fact that I can get someone in here that is considered what society calls plus size, and she can have the same suit as somebody that would be considered petite. I love the range in that because I think it takes some of the negativity that we put on size restrictions on people. And so they do that, and they accommodate it. Plus I just think that the owner of the company is just really, really dope. She's done a lot of amazing things. So yeah, that's my favorite. Mm-hmm.
That's great that you have a personal relationship with a lot of the designers. That's really good. So,
Mm-hmm.
what's been different about being in Atlanta versus here in Greensboro? And what message would you give potential customers here that would persuade them to venture into your store and try something new?
Yes, everything's different about Atlanta and Greensboro.
I know.
Everything is. I do think that, current customers, I've been fortunate enough to have repeat customers in the 10 months that I have been open. So I do know that people are still learning about the store, but I have had people who have come back to the store, who have liked some of the pieces. And I think that the biggest thing that I get is I don't want to look like everyone else at this event. And I felt like I have looked like everyone else in the last 2 years that I went to this event. So what people can expect from me is a little bit edgier fashion. I'm not so heavy on prints in my stores. I have kind of bought in some prints, slowly over the last few months just to kind of gauge it, but it won't be a very heavily printed store. So I would yield more to solids. And that being is that, one, they're less memorable, and two, you can do more things with them. So if you're looking for like a very loud dress, you may not find that here. I do have some pieces, but it's not my staple. I like to take a dark suit or something else and kind of mix it in with a bright color. You could probably do that 4 times and no one would know that you're wearing the same suit, depending on how you accessorize it. So, but yeah, everything is different between the cities that I've been fortunate enough to live in. But I did want to bring some of that to Greensboro because I think there's a market for it. I think that we can begin to have a little bit more fun with what we look like. And I don't think we have to always look so pinned up or conservative to be sexy. You don't have to do that.
Right. I agree. I agree. And I noticed the boldness of color in your boutique, which is what
Yes.
what also instantly attracted me. And I believe confident women aren't afraid to be bold with color in their fashion. How do you think your bold fashion should make a woman feel, and why should she wear it?
Well,
Because by
yeah, I
no
think Yeah, I mean, I think what you wear tells you a lot about who you are, and so, and not everything, but it tells you something. So if you have a woman, I have considered a neon green suit here. I've sold a couple of them, but to wear a neon suit tells you a lot about that person, and I think that is incredible, because it shows that you're not afraid to stand out and to be noticed and that you're confident. It doesn't mean that if you wear black, you're not. It just means that someone who knows that they're going to get that much attention in a suit that bright is not hesitant to get that attention. And so I like colors. I think people should play with it. I think you should have fun with it. And I think the best color that looks good on you is the one you feel the most confident in. So if
exactly.
you feel confident in black, and that's your color. But if you feel confident in orange, that's your color too. So
Yeah.
whatever you choose to wear that day is what looks the best on you. And so we play with a lot of bold colors and fabrics, and how to style things different ways. And we have a lot of fun with that. But yeah, you're always going to find color in my store.
Yeah.
Always.
Well, I love it, so I don't have a problem with it. So, what do your children think about your store as well as your mother? Because I met her also at your
Yeah.
grand.
Yeah, I think they're proud. I think that, you know, we definitely probably could have bought a small house in a foreign country for the investment that I made in in the store, and retired away. But what I hope it teaches them is to not be afraid, that every idea is a possibility, um, and that they can go after that. My mom is obviously very, very proud of me, but you know, she's also my mom, and you know, if I use my coupons correctly at the grocery store, she's proud of me. You know what I mean? So she's always proud. But you know, I definitely have lived my life to ensure that my children are proud of me, to create a legacy. And I'm unapologetic about the fact that, you know, I am their first representation of what a woman looks like. And so how I present myself, the way that I go after and my goals will be reflective of who they choose to be with. And so I'm very conscious of that. And I want to be a good example to them and to their children, and for generations to come. So yeah, I definitely know I'm shifting the paradigm with what I'm doing here.
Right. Well, that's great. What would you like to see most about your store to offer women in Greensboro, and what would you like to, as far as, and how, I'm trying to think how to ask, what would you like to see happen or change in fashion today?
Um, you know what I would like to see is just a little bit um, more willingness to be um, open to trying new things, to
Mm-hmm.
open to new boutiques such as this. I think that that would be very. I think it could change the way fashion is looked at. I mean, there's a lot of history with Greensboro, with their textiles, um, a lot of history people didn't know about, even with like, you know, sewing and manufacturing. You know, so I think kind of reviving that. We have a lot of people moving into the city from all over the world. And those individuals may be looking for a different place to shop at. I think this will give them some of that edge, some of
Mm-hmm.
the warmth that we try to, you know, kind of instill here. So I definitely think you're going to find some different pieces, and you're not going. And I don't buy a lot of pieces of what is unique. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if it's very, very unique, it's going to be only one or two pieces that will
Right.
be in the store. Um, because I don't want someone to go to a holiday event and everybody have on the dress that they got in my store.
I
And I'm
know.
also conscious about it. Why are you buying this? So that I can make sure, you know, that I'm well aware that it's not being sold to someone going to the same event.
Right. Right. Well, I do love your silks. And what would you
Yes.
say? What? How would you encourage women to give them a chance, or what would you say to?
Just try them, you know, like come in and try them. We could talk about different ways to style the dresses, different ways to style the silk suits, because I do have a couple silk suits left. Um, and in the summertime, I even carried some silk shorts. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways that you can play with it, and the whole goal is to not make it look dressy. Is to make you feel confident and comfortable in that fabric. And even, you know, discussing how to take care of that fabric. That's another component of it, that, you know, ideas in which I could share with whomever decides to purchase that.
Right. Exactly. Well, I love silk. So
Me too.
I found this quote a while back from Coco Chanel, and I wanted to share it here
Uh-huh.
because it's kind of how I felt about fashion since I was really young and started modeling. And I grew up in a, back then it was even more conservative town. When I say conservative, as far as fashion and dress and just, the quote is, in order to be irreplaceable, one must always be different. So how do you feel about this quote, and what would you add to it? Or,
Oh yeah, I mean, I love Coco Chanel. I have a book right on the table of hers. And she said a lot of witty things. I mean, she was definitely not short of any words. But she also was a risk taker, and so and I appreciate that about her. But I do agree, like if you're different, it's hard to find someone like you. You know what I mean? And so in a space here is what I strive to do. Not to the point where I'm irreplaceable, that would be nice, but just because I know that whatever I have is the eye that I have for fashion, that no one, can really emulate, and what they can expect from me. I find myself to be very different, as you can see the amount of, careers that I have spent time in and industries in which I've worked in. They're all been different, and so but because I'm constantly looking and pivoting and growing, I would like to think that Tutu and this boutique would just grow and also equally be irreplaceable in this area, as well as the hopefully the entire state of North Carolina.
Great, that's awesome. How does tutus make you feel?
Um, I'm very proud of what we have been able to accomplish here. I think that it's just more to build upon. Um, it's definitely given me really good anxiety, and I think anxiety can be looked at negative, but I have a lot of good anxiety because I have more every day. I'm learning in the store of ways in which to build and make it better. Again, not just for me, but for the community. I've had an opportunity to rent my space out for different events. I've met tons of models in the area. I've met tons of photographers, and all of this is about collaboration and just growing. And so so it makes me feel good. It makes me feel even better when I get a call or a text back from a client, and they commented on how their significant other saw them in an outfit that they purchased from my store, and how good it made them feel to get that compliment, especially if the compliment was given on something that they would not normally wear.
Yeah.
And I think we all get like in this fashion rut. And so these individuals was picking out different items, and their significant other was complimenting me. That makes me feel good because it goes back to what I originally said. It's not always about me, so it goes back to like, oh, it's about her and that relationship that kind of sparked this newness because of something that individual saw them wear from my store. So it makes me feel good. I mean, I'm happy to be here. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for this experience. And I'm very grateful for all the people that have walked through that door that have been inspired by what my vision is now, what my vision is in front of them. So it's been really a good experience, and I've learned a lot.
That's wonderful. Well, I love your store, and so I'm proud of you that you had the courage to do it. And I, definitely want to support you because I think that Greensboro needed this. I really do. If you could
Yeah,
say one
thank you.
thing to the women watching this, especially those who may live here locally, what would you say to them? How would you encourage them to come in your store? I guess.
Well, yeah, I mean, always come in. It is definitely more to be seen. I do have a lot of things on my website. But I do think the in-store vibe is what it is. So it is very
Yeah.
welcoming. It's very inviting. And I also think that there's something to be said by actually trying on clothes and feeling the fabrics and seeing what it looks like, with you in them. I think that there is a lot of beauty in that. So if you're local, stop by and see me, 2800 Lawndale Drive, Greensboro, North Carolina. Um, all of my socials are at Shop Tutuh, Tutuh. But if you do find something online that you like, and you're not sure about it, message me, and let's kind of have a conversation as to what you're looking for. And there's nothing but transparency in terms of what it looks like and how it fits, because every single item in this store that is a size medium fits differently depending on the brand, and so it's always worth a conversation, and then we can decide, is it something that you want me to mail to you? So I do have the capabilities of doing that as well.
Great. And I did want to mention, I think they can book an appointment with you online on your website as well as just walk in the store, right?
Yes, I've had a couple appointments, and those have been one of the best experiences because you get one-on-one time with no one else in the store, and I think sometimes it's even better because it kind of alleviates some of the anxiousness about people trying on stuff and their bodies and everything like that. So we have a lot of we have a lot of fun on the one-on-one appointments. So you can definitely expect music and maybe some champagne.
Great. Well, Valarie, I want to thank you for being here today, and I'm glad we got through this, and it sounds like we did good. And I'm
Good.
excited. I'm excited about you being here in Greensboro. Is there anything else that you want to mention that we didn't cover? It sounds like you have something going on Friday.
Yeah, so I have a huge Black Friday sale for in-store only. The way that it's being structured, it's hard to do it online. So we definitely have what I have coined as these tutu totes. And so you can purchase a tote, can't see them. And on our clearance rack, you can fill up a tote. Fill up a
Oh,
tote for $500. And it is racks and racks of clothes. So if you're in store, we open on Friday from 9 to 12 will be our biggest Black Friday sale, probably the biggest in the triad. And so just come in and we'll have a good time, and it'll probably be a little bit crazy, but you will definitely find some good stuff at a significantly marked down price. So hope to see you all then if you're local.
that's awesome. Well, I want to thank all my I want to thank all my viewers for their continued support. And please, if you're watching this, share this interview, the replay, on your social media sites. If you're local, or even if you're not, visit Valarie Tutuh's online, and it's shoptutu.com. Is that right,
Correct.
Valarie?
Yep.
Okay.
TUTUH. Yep.
And you should see it in the little ticker at the bottom of the video here, and you'll be able to see also the replay on this on Canyon Star TV on my podcast there as well. So join me soon for more live interviews, and to your own success, keep on rocking it, and have a great holiday season.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.